everyone, Tina here. I hope your day is going wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we're going to create a pretty quick and easy card. We're using a few new items from the C&CT Stamps Dream Big release. I'm using the Fern Die. This is a large die. Usually on the front of C&CT's die packages, it's scaled to size. So this is actually, well, you would want to flip it around, of course, but this is actually the size of this beautiful fern. So with autumn and fall, it's summertime, I know it doesn't even seem like we're heading in that direction, but it is around the corner, so I thought we'd make kind of a fallish card. We're also going to be using a new embossing folder. This is the DIBBLE embossing folder. So let's jump in and create a background. Actually, we're going to do a little bit of die cutting first. I'm going to be using 2 sheets of cardstock. I have like this rusty color orange, and then I also have some Nina Desert Storm. And I'm going to die cut out my fern with both of these. And when I'm done, I'll be right back. Okay, I went ahead and die cut out my fern, and it's pretty detailed. There's etched details in each of the leaves, which is really nice, really pretty. Okay, so there are our ferns. What we're going to do is just, before we go any further, is take the tape runner, and I'm going to flip over my rust color, and I'm going to go right down the spine of it, and then we're gonna layer these two together, kind of crisscrossing them. So we have 2 leaves that are really pretty. I'm going to put this aside and we're going to work on our background. Again, today's card's going to be really simple. So to create my background, I'm going to be using the C&CT Stamp Halftone Square background. And this is a red rubber stamp. We're going to go ahead and bring in our stamping positioner. I'm going to place my panel. I put adhesive behind it, and I'm going to place it on my panel. The dots on here are lined up, so if you get them crooked, your background's going to be crooked. So I'm just going to place this where I want it on my background stamp, and then I pull around the back side of my stamping positioner and tack down my paper. This way, I know exactly where my dots are going to be. Now, to color in my dots, we're going with that fallish theme. I'm bringing in my Potter's Clay. This is a Memento ink. And we're just going to go over our background. And we'll go ahead and stamp this. Press down real good. And I kind of missed a spot over here. I just love, though, I forgot how nice. Sometimes you go through your background stamps and you think, wow, I forgot how pretty this was. Okay, now after we have our background done, this is a card front panel. So it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. I'm going to go ahead and put this directly on the top of my card base. Now after we have our card front done, I'm going to take our DIBBLE dot, which is the cutest name. That'd be a cute name for a pet. DIBBLE. It's a really pretty circle dotted pattern. I'm going to go ahead and open up this. And you know what? Before we do our embossing, I want to background panel. To do that, I'm bringing in my Art Impressions rounded rectangle dies. And I'm going to cut out this is double stitching, so it'll actually if you center this, since it is double stitched, you can use this panel later for another card. So I'm going to die cut out a panel. I'm going to use the inside piece, but the outside you can use again. So since this is a stitch detail on it, I'm going to show you. So you can see the stitch detail around here. Save this for another card. This is great for scene building. Okay, and then I'm going to use this panel. And then I'm going to run this through my die cutting machine. We'll just put it in the middle. Okay, I went ahead and embossed this, and it embosses beautifully. Love those dotted circles, really nice. Okay, after we have this done, I'm going to bring in a little bit of color to our background. I'm going to leave this white, but I do want to bring in a piece of plaid. Lots of fun fall plaids in here. This is the Photo Play Fall Plaid 6x6 paper pad. And I'm going to trim down a piece of this. I just love this. Kind of reminds me of the pantsuits back in like the disco days. I was never part of the disco days. I was little, but this kind of reminded me of the pantsuits. Okay, so I'm going to trim this down to a 1/2-inch strip. Okay, so I have a 1/2-inch strip, and I'm going to flip this around, and I just left it the width, my 6-inch width, and I'm going to bring it up about 3/4 inches from the bottom of my panel here. I think that's a good spot. And then rather than cut it, I'm just going to flip it around like it's a ribbon. Sometimes it's just easier to do that, and I like the way the sides look too. So that's our background panel. I'm going to go ahead and flip this around, and I have a piece of foam adhesive that I'm going to trim down, and I'm going to add adhesive behind here. If you want to use your glue, you can, but sometimes the tape runner is easier. I'm going to go ahead and adhere this, and then we're going to place this on our dotted background. And now we need a sentiment. And I went through my Simon stamps, and I found this one here. Sometimes it's good to go through your stash. This is the Just Because Word Mix 2 stamp set. And there are 2 solid stamps that you would stamp all of these sentiments at one time, and then you have the die that will cut them out. I'm going to show you how they line up. So the die will just die cut everything out. You stamp it once, die cut out at once. The same with the second stamp in this set. Pretty cool, huh? Well, I have a whole bunch of little odds and ends of sentiments that after I die cut, of course, I put them in the back. So I found one that I think will go perfect for this card. This one says, "Just 'cause you're awesome." Just because you're awesome. I love that. And I'll link this down below if you guys want to check it out. We're going to add some foam adhesive behind our sentiment. And for my fall cards, I'm going to use, I like to use natural twine. I just think natural twine with autumn cards just go really good together. And I'm doubling up on my twine to create a double bow. And when I do that, I have that loop on the bottom that I need to trim away. And then I'm actually going to have to trim these a little shorter. I'm going to add a glue dot at the base of my fern right here. And then we can take our natural twine that we doubled up and tied into a bow. I like to open up those, the loops of the bow, and we'll tack that down. Pretty simple card, no bells or whistles. This would be actually a great masculine card too, I think. So, nice everyday masculine card. Not too often I make Just Because cards that are masculine. Usually they're feminine. But thank you so much for joining me. Again, this is part of C&CT Stamp's brand new Dream Big release. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, a lot of fun new items this month over at the Simon Shop. Have a great day. Thanks for joining me. We will see you soon. Bye-bye.